I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to get blindsided like this, especially not after 10 years of marriage. My name's Mike, and I'd always considered myself fairly perceptive, the kind of guy who could tell when something was off. But I guess I was too comfortable, too trusting. Laura and I had a good life, nice house, decent jobs, 2 kids who I adore. We'd been through our ups and downs like any couple, but I really believed we had something solid. That is, until the day I started to notice little things that didn't add up. It all started a few months ago when I got my latest memory upgrade. I work in a field where I've had some enhancements done, more memory, better recall, that kind of thing. My wife, Laura, is always supportive of my work. She's the one who pushed me into getting the system upgraded in the first place. But I noticed she was acting weird right after my last procedure. She'd be a little more distant, less interested in our usual talks, and she'd start canceling plans last minute. Nothing huge, but enough for me to feel a strange tension. Plus, she started wearing more perfume, dressing up more often, and sneaking around her phone like she was trying to hide something. I didn't have any concrete proof, but I felt it in my gut. Still, I played it cool. That's how I am. I prefer to watch and observe before jumping to conclusions. But then one night I got an email from my work system, a notification. It wasn't about the upgrade itself, but about a backup file. I looked at the timestamp, and it was right around the time I was undergoing my memory session. Curious, I opened it up. What I found was something I wasn't prepared for, a series of recordings, audio and video clips that I could swear I never made. They were from our bedroom from the night Laura told me she was working late. But these recordings showed her and someone else. Someone I'd never suspected. A technician I knew from work. A guy named Derek. They were in bed together, naked, laughing, fucking. It was raw, explicit, the kind of thing that made my stomach turn. The craziest part, the system backup had hidden these recordings from my normal memory. The system, which I trusted to help me recall. My past had apparently deleted these files, erased the truth from my mind. But the backup hidden deep in some encrypted folder preserved everything. That's how I found out. That's how I saw her with him, lying there with her hair in disarray and her face flushed with pleasure. I saw her lie, too, about staying late at work or going out with friends. All lies. She'd been cheating on me for months, maybe longer, and I had no idea. I couldn't speak at first. My mind was racing, spiraling. I felt this searing mix of betrayal, anger, and disbelief. How could she do this? After all we built, after all the trust I gave her. And Derek, the guy I'd always thought was a decent coworker, was doing this to me. Right under my nose. I was furious. I wanted to scream, to destroy something, but I just sat there, stunned, staring at the screen, trying to process it all. The woman I loved, lying to my face, fucking someone else behind my back. And the system, the thing I trusted, had hidden this from me. What made it worse was that I didn't just find one encounter. I found multiple clips, each one more damaging than the last. Each time her with him in different places, different times. I could even hear her voice, moaning, laughing, telling him how much she loved the sex, how she wished I was gone so they could be alone. Somehow that was the worst part, the way she lied so easily, as if I didn't matter. I've always been a good guy. I worked hard, provided for her and the kids, kept everything smooth on the surface. But this was a betrayal I didn't see coming. And the worst part, I knew I couldn't just pretend like I didn't see it. I had caught her, or rather, the system had caught her for me. It's like my mind had been shielded from the truth, but now I saw the reality clearly. And honestly, I didn't know what to do with myself after that. After I finally dug through the files and saw those recordings, everything changed in an instant. For days after, I couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. My mind kept replaying those images, her voice, the way she looked so carefree with him. I kept asking myself, how did I miss all of this? How did I not see that my wife, the woman I loved, had been lying to me for months? And Derek, I'd met him a few times at work, never suspected anything, never thought he'd do something like this. It felt like my entire world was collapsing. The worst part was feeling like I'd been betrayed, not just by her, but by the system too. That upgrade I'd gotten, the system I trusted to help me remember my own life, turns out it was hiding shit from me. I kept thinking about how it had erased those memories, wiped out the truth, and only through the backup did I see what really happened. These images weren't just something I stumbled across. They were an indictment of everything I believed about her, and about how safe I thought I was. I knew I had to confront her. There was no way I could just pretend it was a mistake or a misunderstanding. I needed answers, and I needed to hear it from her directly. So I waited until she came home late that night just to catch her off guard. I remember the moment vividly, her key turning in the lock, her heels clicking on the tile. She looked surprised when she saw me sitting in the living room, phone in hand, and a serious look on my face. She tried to play it cool at first, like she had no idea what I was talking about. "Mike, what are you doing? Why are you going through my stuff?" she asked, voice a little sharper than usual. I just looked at her, not saying a word, and showed her the files I'd uncovered. Her eyes widened, then narrowed, and she immediately started spinning her usual bullshit. "Oh, that. It's nothing, Mike. Just some stupid joke Derek and I were playing. You know how he is, always messing around." I didn't buy it, not for a second. I stared her down, feeling the anger simmering just below the surface. "Bullshit, Laura. I saw the recordings. I saw what you did with him. How long has this been happening? How many times?" I could feel my voice trembling with rage, but I kept going. "And don't lie. I know you're lying. I know this isn't just some joke. You fucked him, didn't you?" Her face froze for a moment. Then she spat out a string of lies. "It was just sex, Mike. It meant nothing. You think I'd throw away everything we have over a stupid fuck? You're overreacting. It's just sex, and it's not even that serious." The way she said it, the tone, so bitchy, so dismissive, it made my stomach turn. She was trying to minimize it like it was some minor thing. But I knew better. I knew that wasn't the truth. That was her way of gaslighting me, trying to make me feel like I was crazy for being upset. I remember feeling this explosive mixture of sadness and fury. How could she say that? How could she sit there and lie to my face after I'd seen everything? I wanted to scream, to shake her, to make her admit what she'd done. But I just stood there silent, feeling every ounce of that betrayal tear me apart. The woman I'd trusted was nothing but a liar, a cheat, a person capable of hurting me this badly. And Derek, he was a piece of shit too, for taking advantage of her, for doing this behind my back. That night I didn't sleep. I kept replaying that footage, replaying her voice, trying to understand how she could do this, how I missed the signs. It cut deep, more than I'd ever expected. I felt like I'd been living a lie for years, and now that I knew the truth, I could never go back. Everything we built, a life, a family, was suddenly fragile, shattered by infidelity and deception. I realized I had to make a decision, but honestly I didn't know if I could ever forgive her, not after seeing everything laid bare. The trust was gone, completely gone. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't focus on work, couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, her face, her voice, the way she looked with Derek. I kept asking myself how I missed all of this. How did I not see that the woman I loved was sneaking around behind my back? I kept going over the recordings, trying to find some clue I'd missed, some sign that she was planning this all along. But what haunted me most was the fact that I had trusted her, that I had believed we had a strong marriage. I started digging into the system backups more deeply. I knew the upgrade had hidden some of her activities, but the backup, hidden in a secure server, preserved everything. I spent hours hacking through layers of encryption, trying to find out exactly how long this had been going on. That's when I found even more disturbing evidence. Old recordings, old messages, deleted conversations that she'd erased from her phone but hadn't erased from the backup. She'd been lying to me for months, maybe longer. Every excuse she'd given, every lie she'd told, was all part of this web of deception. At that point, I knew I couldn't stay silent anymore. I had to confront her again with more evidence, more questions. So I called her at work. I told her I needed to see her that evening, something important. She sounded annoyed, like I was bothering her, but she agreed to come home early. I remember that feeling, this strange mixture of anticipation and dread. I was ready to blow the lid off everything. When she arrived, she was acting even more bitchy than before, like she thought she could brush this off as if nothing had happened. She sat down, rolled her eyes, and snapped, "What now, Mike? You know I've got work to do." I pressed her about her lies, about Derek, about how long she'd been doing this. She denied everything at first, tried to act innocent, but I had enough. I showed her the evidence, more screenshots, videos, the whole 9 yards. Her reaction, pure contempt. She looked at me like I was dirt beneath her designer shoes. "You're being paranoid," she spat. "This is just sex, Mike. Grow up. You think I'm some kind of slut. You're just insecure, that's all." That was her line, trying to make me feel crazy, trying to dismiss what I'd uncovered, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I could see right through her lies. The crazy part was watching her try to twist everything around like she was the victim. "You're overreacting," she said. "You're jealous, insecure, and honestly, I don't even want to be married to someone who's this paranoid." Her words hit me like a punch in the gut. I felt the anger boiling over, but also this deep sadness, like I was losing her, losing everything I thought we had. And all I could think about was how deeply she'd betrayed me, how little she cared about my feelings or our family. For the first time, I realized I wasn't just angry, I was devastated. The woman I'd loved, the woman I'd married, had turned into someone I barely recognized. And Derek, this supposed technician, he was just as much to blame. I replayed that night she told me she was working late, that she was tired, that she loved me. It all felt like a lie now. I wondered how many nights she'd been with him while I was at work or asleep, how much of my life she'd been tearing apart behind my back. I told her I needed some time to think, that I couldn't be around her right now. She just shrugged, smirking like she didn't care. That's when I realized I was at a crossroads. Do I try to fix this, forgive her, forget everything I saw, or do I walk away? My heart was pounding so loud I thought everyone in the neighborhood could hear it. The truth was staring me in the face, loud and clear. I'd been betrayed, lied to, and used. But even then, a tiny part of me still hoped there was some way to salvage what was left. Deep down, I knew I couldn't ignore this. Not anymore. The days that followed felt like torture. I couldn't focus on anything, my work, my family, even my own thoughts. Every time I looked at Laura, I saw her differently. The woman I'd loved, the woman I'd trusted with my life, was now just a stranger who had been dragging my heart through the dirt for months. I kept coming back to that footage, replaying her voice, her laughter with Derek, imagining how many nights she'd been with him while I was clueless. It was like a betrayal so deep that I didn't know if I could ever come back from it. I decided I needed to take some space, get away from her, from the house. I booked a weekend cabin in the woods, somewhere remote where I could think clearly. I thought maybe I'd find some clarity out there, away from the chaos. But even in that quiet place, all I could do was think about what I'd seen, what I'd discovered. I kept asking myself if I should confront her again, or if I should just cut ties and walk away silently. The truth was, I was torn between wanting justice and wanting to save what little dignity I had left. While I was gone, I spent hours poring over the files I'd saved, every clip, every message, every piece of evidence I could find. I even started to second-guess myself, wondering if I'd missed some context, some reason for her behavior. But no. Deep down, I knew the truth was there. She had been unfaithful, she had lied, and she didn't give a damn about the damage she was causing. One thing that really hit me hard was the realization that I had been living in this perfect little bubble, believing we had a solid marriage. Turns out it was built on lies and secrets. That day I saw her with Derek, everything shattered. The trust I once had was broken beyond repair. I wondered how I'd ever look her in the eyes again, knowing what I now knew. When I came back home, everything felt different. The house, the memories, nothing seemed the same anymore. That evening I sat her down again. This time I was calmer but no less firm. I told her I knew everything, the affair, the lies, the hidden recordings. Her face crumpled for a second like she was surprised. "I found out so fast," but then she straightened up and shot back with that bitchy attitude. "You're overreacting, Mike. You always blow things out of proportion. This is just sex. I love you. I don't know what you're so upset about." She even had the nerve to say that I was paranoid, that I was imagining things. I couldn't believe her audacity. I showed her the worst clips, the most damning evidence, and that's when she lost her temper. She started yelling, calling me crazy, possessive, insecure, and told me I was being ridiculous. She even accused me of spying on her like I was some kind of stalker. That moment was a turning point. I saw how manipulative she could be, how little she cared about my feelings. It hit me hard. She saw me as some obstacle, not her husband, not someone she owed honesty to. She saw me as a fool she could lie to and walk all over. I realized then that I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I was done. Done with her lies, her bullshit, her betrayal. I told her I was leaving, that I couldn't stay in a marriage where trust had been completely destroyed, and she just sneered like she didn't care, like I was a fool for ever trusting her in the first place. That night was the hardest I've ever lived through. I packed a bag, told her I'd be staying at a friend's place for a while. The house felt cold, empty, like I was leaving behind a life I no longer recognized. As I walked out that door, I felt a strange mix of relief and heartbreak. Relief because I finally knew the truth and was taking back some control. Heartbreak because I was leaving behind the woman I once loved. The woman who, in her own way, had shattered everything I believed in. Looking back now, I realize betrayal cuts deeper than anything else. It strips you of your illusions, makes you question everything. I don't know what's next for me, but one thing's clear. I can't go back. I'm done pretending she's the woman I thought she was. I've learned that trust, once broken like that, is almost impossible to fix. And honestly, I don't think I want to try. The aftermath has been a whirlwind. I've been staying with a close friend trying to get my head straight. The house still haunts me every time I drive past it. Reminders of a life that felt so secure, so perfect, now shattered into pieces. I can't help but replay everything. The lies, the betrayal, the way she dismissed it all like it was nothing. It's like waking up from a nightmare, only to find the reality worse than I ever imagined. Every day brings new emotions, anger, sadness, confusion, but mostly a strange sense of relief. I finally see her for what she truly is, a manipulative, selfish person who didn't care one bit about my feelings or the promises we made. Honestly, part of me feels stupid for trusting her so blindly, but I guess that's part of the lesson. Trust isn't something you should take for granted, especially not with someone who can lie so effortlessly. As for Derek, I've done my own digging. Turns out, he's been involved with other women at work. I found out he's got a reputation, some kind of player, a guy who takes advantage of women who are vulnerable or careless. That made me feel a little better, knowing she wasn't the only one he's hurt, but it doesn't fix what she did to me. It just adds another layer to this whole mess. I've been thinking a lot about what to do next. Do I try to work things out somehow with her? Do I fight for my marriage even after everything? Honestly, the thought of trying to rebuild trust after this kind of betrayal makes me sick. I know deep down that I deserve better, that I need to focus on myself and my kids. That's what's holding me together, the kids. They're what matter most right now. I want to give them stability, even if it means a fresh start for me. Some friends have told me I should sue her or confront her legally, but I honestly haven't decided yet. Right now, I just want to keep my distance, process everything, and figure out what I really want from life. I've realized that I'm stronger than I thought, even in the face of all this heartbreak. But I also know I'm not over it yet. The betrayal still stings, and I think it will for a long time. One thing I've learned is that trust is fragile. It's like a glass vase. You might think it's unbreakable, but one crack can shatter it completely. I don't think I can ever look at Laura the same way again. It's a painful realization, but I suppose it's better to face it now than live in denial. I want to rebuild my life, to learn from this, and to remember that I deserve honesty and respect, not lies and betrayal. Right now, I'm just taking it day by day, trying to stay strong for my kids, for myself. I know the road ahead won't be easy, but I'm hopeful that eventually I'll find peace again. Maybe someday I'll even forgive her, not for her sake, but for mine. Because holding on to hate or anger only keeps me chained to this pain. For now, I'll focus on healing, on moving forward, and on making sure I never let someone hurt me like this again. Looking back on everything, I realize I've gone through a kind of rebirth. The betrayal cut so deep, it forced me to confront parts of myself I'd never really faced before. I used to believe marriage was about trust, about loyalty. I thought I had that with Laura. But now I see that trusting someone blindly is a mistake, one I paid for dearly. The system's backup, that hidden archive of her lies and our secrets, became the unintentional mirror revealing the truth I refused to see. It was brutal but necessary. Now I focus on healing. I spend more time with my kids, try to rebuild some semblance of normalcy. I've started therapy, talking through everything: anger, grief, betrayal. It helps to voice it, to unburden myself from the weight of what I've experienced. I've come to accept that I might never fully forgive her, and maybe I shouldn't. Some things are too broken, too stained by lies to ever be repaired. One thing I do know is that I won't let this define me. It's a chapter, a painful one, but I refuse to let it become my whole story. I've learned that resilience isn't about ignoring pain. It's about facing it head-on and choosing to move forward anyway. I've learned that trust must be earned and maintained, not taken for granted. And most importantly, I've learned that I deserve honesty, respect, and loyalty, something I will never accept from anyone who takes me for granted again. As I sit here, writing this down, I feel a strange sense of closure. Yes, I'm hurt. Yes, I'm angry, but I'm also stronger. I'm finally ready to let go of the past and start rebuilding my future one step at a time. It's a long road ahead with plenty of unknowns, but I've realized one thing for sure: I will never settle for less than the truth again. And I will always remember that in the end, the only person responsible for my happiness is me.